www.offthecorner.net. You're watching the Fact Project. The Fact, of course, is an acronym that stands for Fundamental African Centered Thought. The goal here on the Fact Project is to convey some facts and some information to members of our community. I want to first start by giving a shout out to the DJ Tiger for creating a space for us to have these kind of conversations. FACT, of course, is an acronym that stands for Fundamental African Centered Thought. The goal here on the FACT Project is to convey some thoughts and some information to members of our community. We have slated to join us today two very special guests. They've been here on the FACT Project with me before in the past. I'm talking about none other than the great Dr. James McIntosh and the great brother Kwabena Rasuli, who seem to be having a challenge getting on right now, but no worries. We want to talk again today about the boycott against Netflix, which has been ongoing for more than a year now. Now, the boycott against Netflix began, of course, because Netflix did a animated reboot of the television classic Good Times that a lot of us came up on, watched when it went into syndication and so forth. And it was a show that always had some kind of redeeming message to it. So some of the producers of Netflix, they took that concept and they decided that they wanted to make an animated reboot of Good Times. But it was very stereotypical. It was a very reprehensible portrayal of Black people. And it portrayed us as living in the ghetto, in a housing project that's no longer there. And it was just some of the most deplorable language and circumstances that you can ever imagine a television show putting Black people in. I think it's sad that Netflix and the people that produced this decided that they thought this would be a good idea to make fun of Black people in that way. And so they did that anyway. And there was an outrage around it, obviously, because, it was a very stereotypical portrayal of Black people. And CMOTAP, along with Clear the Airways Project and any number of other organizations nationwide, they launched a campaign to boycott Netflix. Now, in the beginning, a lot of people told me, hey, boycotting makes no sense. You're wasting your time, so forth and so on. And I think they were wrong because the boycott works. We have joining us Brother Kwabena Rasuli. Peace, Brother Kwabena. Thank you for joining us again today, brother.
Oh, you're welcome, good brother. Dante Sonnet for having us.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. So I'm just trying to give a little backdrop to how the Netflix campaign began. What can you tell us about your involvement with the Netflix campaign in terms of the boycott? How did you get started and involved with that?
Well, when I saw the trailer, pretty much, when I saw that they were doing a reboot of Good Times, I was actually kind of excited. It was the 50th year anniversary, 2024. The show came out in 1974. It was a television show that a while back, not too long ago, I was like, I was thinking one day how corny I thought Good Times was. Then they brought it back on syndication. You know how they do these shows, they bring them back periodically on syndication. And when they brought it back, I watched quite a few of them. Like as corny as I may have thought they were, they had good messages in them. Even with JJ acting up or doing what he does. And, they had great messages in the show. And so I watched quite a few of them. I have a little brother that's like a historian on all sorts of things, art. And he knows every episode, all the characters and all that. So we could talk about, certain characters and what have you. And it was just a show that as a child, we used to gather around and watch every week too. And of course, just and check out what was happening in Chicago. It was based in Chicago. I grew up in LA. And then when they said they were going to reboot, again, we were excited. We thought it was going to be a little something different. Then when we saw the trailer, couldn't believe it. So we started getting in touch with our people. And first, you got to eliminate this media offensive to African people. And it's very offensive. And so we contacted Dr. McIntosh and Sister Betty Dobson in late March of 2024, and they got to work. There was another group out of Los Angeles, Project Islamic Hope, that did a demonstration early on with some preachers and what have you. They went out there, and I don't think they followed up with anything else, but we certainly did and have continued to do it and continue to do it right now also. So yeah, that's what got us started on it. Just seeing the video with uh, three rappers, three baby rappers, Baby, Da Baby, and Lil Baby, shooting their guns at a 2-year old baby drug dealer that's been kicked out of the house. It's just deplorable.
Okay, now, what impact does that kind of media have on the psychology of the people that watch it?
It it has a horrible impact because it normalizes. I'm gonna start off with the people who see it, who don't live like we live. People like they've shown the video in France and other countries in different languages. They get an image of black people that
Mm,
they think is what it is, and it's not. And it's very detrimental to how we're treated abroad, how we're looked at, and how we're not how it's acceptable to treat us. How it makes us vulnerable to horrific treatment. And so that's how it's looked at by those who don't know us. And for us who are here, it's conditioning.
mm.
It's stereotypes, and it's showing the worst of us, and it's exaggerating it. It's horrible. It's making a mockery of us, and it's so vulgar. And it's like the same thing we talk about with the music, how the music uh, impacts the people. And we talk about how the music, we were on a piece a couple of weeks ago talking about where are we going, and we're looking at like in 2000, there was a report that black women in their 30s, 30-some% of them had never been married. That was 25 years ago. 30-some% of black women in their 30s had never been married. And now here we are 25 years later, and it's almost 50% of black women of all ages, of marrying ages, have never been married. Never. And so the question we have, who gonna marry them? If all we're seeing that our sisters depicted as is harlots and ladies with no class and things like that. So it's tough to songs out talking about I don't love them H's, ain't nothing to cut their B off. I will never. Song they were playing brother called I will never wipe her. I will only one nighter. The woman full of lies. I just F them and pass them to my guys. Played on the radio constantly. Songs I'm a
Mm.
dog. I'm a dog. I'm a dog. I'm gonna treat her like a dog. Beat her like a dog. Feed her like a dog and pass her to my dogs on radios and hot rotation. And so these images are constantly put out there about our women. And then it came to a point, probably around 2016, maybe 17, whenever Cardi B Gone was introduced to the masses as a rapper, then the floodgates opened up. She had like 4 songs in the top 10 at one time. Her first 4 songs, the only one to ever do that ever. And then they gave us the City Girls, then Megan, then Lotto, then uh, just a whole plethora of just nothing but all the sisters that they promote in the music, demean and degrade us. And so, the people see that they don't want to take that home to their mama,
Mm.
and so it has an influence on us. It has a very negative influence, and that's what's shown in this cartoon. The women are twerking. They got the little girl. It's just horrible.
Now, there has been some success in the boycott because they were supposed to launch the second season, and because of the pushback, they didn't launch the second season. It's been canceled. Early on, I was getting messages in my comments, people telling me that, well, you're wasting your time, boycotting doesn't work, so forth and so on. Now, you were around in the 80s, and we saw the Free South Africa campaign, and South Africa got boycotted. And as a result, apartheid ended. And you and Simo Tap and any of the number of other groups made an effort to push back against Netflix and have had some amount of success. What do you say to the people that will tell you, "Oh, brother Kwabena, you're wasting your time and boycotting doesn't work"? What do you say to those people?
I mean, proof positive that they do direct action boycotts and the people coming together. They work. They are important. We need more people to do that. I mean, there's also more involved too. I heard a commentary or program from Brother G last week concerning moving beyond boycotts, but we still need more people to protest and boycott. I mean, even with the protest we just had last Thursday in New York City at Netflix offices. I mean, it was successful protests, but they don't come out. They don't come out and I mean, they don't respond. They have not responded directly. We know we know that the fact that they did not renew this television series is a direct result of the pressure we put on them, like putting pressure on the NBA, putting pressure on the ownership, putting pressure on Netflix leadership, and we will continue to do that because even though, as you said, they did not add another series. I just talked to a friend of mine, and you can still see that first season. I should say they did not put another season, but that first season is still available. That first season is still available on Netflix, and we want it off. We're demanding that you take it off.
And so that's the next step in the fight, right? To have them remove the first season that's still sitting there and people are still watching it.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Remove,
And
get it
so
off the air.
now I know Netflix has been very silent on everything up to this point. Has there been any official word from Netflix as it relates to Good Times and the boycott?
We haven't heard any official word. We didn't hear official word that we're not renewing this, and we've been looking for it. Unanimous Media, which is the company that Steph Curry's that he runs, that helped to create this madness. Uh, we tried to get a hold of them, find out what was happening. We didn't get any calls back. They didn't say anything. They'd answer the phone and hang up real quick or something, or either that. And no, and that's what they do. I remember years ago when the Clear the Airways Project was boycotting or had direct action demonstrations at McDonald's for a while. McDonald's was having um, their commercials on pretty much say 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5 commercial breaks on these stations in Chicago. The No Heart station, we call them No Heart. Y'all call them people call them iHeart, and also the uh, Crawford broadcasting station that broadcast that kill black people music in Chicago. McDonald's would always have commercials on there, and we had learned from our brother George Curry that McDonald's is the third largest sponsor of so-called black media in the country. And we say so-called because, as you know, iHeart and Crawford, they're not black-owned. And so during our demonstrations, we noticed, even though they only met with us one time, but we noticed that their commercials cut down tremendously. Sometimes we hardly hear a spot every 2 or 3 hours. So, and we know why. We know we played a role in that. Our demonstrations. They never contacted us, told us why. Okay, yeah, we're gonna cut back or we're gonna remove our commercials from these stations that play this violent, vulgar music. We asked them, "Did you buy commercials on the radio station that played music that bragged about shooting and killing dogs?" And of course, their answer was no. So why do you buy commercials on radio stations that play music that talks about shooting and killing black people? And of course, they were silent. But they did eventually cut down tremendously on the commercials that they play. I don't monitor as much as I used to, but I'm sure they're still on there. But so that's why I'm saying still need more direct action to deal with these beasts.
Yeah, now you have some of the actors that played the children on the original Good Times series: Ralph Carter, Bernadette Stanis, and Jimmy Walker. I know the three of them had did an interview on Breakfast Club, and they were kind of pushing back against it. Has there been any word from them since?
I haven't heard any word from them since. The word I heard from them since, and that's why art is so important, there's a beautiful rap song called "Bad Times." And so when we play it, and when you hear that, you hear all three of them, the mother and the father. Well, I don't think JJ's on there, but you hear Ralph
Yeah, he
and
is
also
because he says Dynamite.
okay, yes, yes. But you hear them, and they're speaking out pretty much against what's going on this sitcom. And so, but I don't think we heard anything directly from any of them since then. And they're still out there. They've been around. Bernadette, who matter of fact, her voice is used in that first season, but she was like she didn't think it was going to be that. But yeah, yeah, we could definitely use, even at this point, them to seriously speak out against this.
Yeah,
James is
but
since transition, but
go
yeah,
ahead. I'm
go to say.
curious to know how she. I'm curious to know how she got tricked into that. I mean, don't you read the script before you just do a voice? Like, aren't you supposed to read the whole thing?
Look, I agree. That's I'm a. I mean, you talk about sitcoms. I watch a lot of Fred Sanford. I remember one of the episodes when they were trying to be movie stars. Lamont and Rollo, Rollo was trying to be movie stars, and Fred said, "I'm gonna join them too." You probably remember that episode. And Fred
Yes.
started reading through that script. I'm not doing this. This is a nudie. I ain't gonna be in no
Right.
nudie. Yeah, because they gave him the
Yes.
script. That was just yeah. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. And they went to film and everything. It was funny.
yeah, that was funny. Yeah, that was the old when they went to jail. And anyway, okay, we'll stop that. But that was one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah. But I know Ralph Carter and I believe Dr. McIntosh, who we were trying to get on today, or was supposed to do something together. Either have him come to Simotap or interview him on the radio. You haven't heard from
Okay.
Ralph Carter either? No word from
No,
Ralph
no,
Carter?
no,
Okay.
no word from Ralph Carter. And Ralph, like I said, used to attend the UAM meetings, from my understanding, United African Movement meetings, and other or some programs that CMOTAP would help host. So I know Ralph, Dr. McIntosh talk about Ralph would be there at times. So, and I saw him somewhere recently. I don't know if it was he was being interviewed or was just some pictures with him. But yeah, he can still and should, and we need him to still speak out against this. His voice goes such a long way in speaking out against this.
Now, what about Cree Summer? She, was doing voiceover for a long time. We know her from sitcoms on television. She lent her voice to this. We saw Cree Summer over the years as, I guess, a sort of a quasi-conscious person.
Yeah,
Has she come out and made any public statement about this new Good Times at all?
we haven't heard anything from Cree Summers. And Cree Summers, as you said, man, Cree Summers. I remember going to a program for my uncle Geronimo when he was still locked up in L.A. And Cree was there. What's the name? Sister Johnson was there. Uh, a girl from Martin, Tisha Campbell was there, and even Jada Pinkett. They were all just doing their thing in support of getting Uncle G out. Cree was so beautiful and so welcoming, and just then to see her lend her voice to this atrocity was really disappointing. And so, yeah, we would love to talk to her about this and love to have her say something about it. But, we got to understand, too, that if she does, we know how Hollywood is. It's almost like with these rappers. People will get on us. I'm sorry, I keep going back to this music, bro, but that's what we do. But people will get on us. Oh, why y'all don't talk about the rappers? Why you don't get on the rappers? I'm like, man, we do. We don't let rappers off the hook. The system don't let them off the hook. The fact that 200 of them died in 2020, 250 in 2021, 200 of those from gun violence, that let you know that what they're putting out there and what's happening on the streets, they don't let them off the hook. So why should we let them off the hook? We love them. We trying to bring them back. But however, when we come into a rapper or get a hold of a rapper who changes, they don't give them no love. They don't play them. They isolate them. I mean, an example of it is like Lupe Fiasco. Lupe Fiasco was out with us. Was right after Kelly Hydea Pendleton was killed, and we were having a demonstration downtown Chicago in front of the Clear Channel at that time, the No Heart station, WGCI, and Lupe was working there. And never forget, it was his birthday, 2013. Wow, that was 12 years ago. And Lupe grabbed one of our signs. It was a 14-degree day. It was in February, and he took that sign and went upstairs to the studio with it. And while he had that show on Saturdays, we haven't heard. I think you can count on your hands the number of times you heard Lupe songs on that radio station since 2013. And this is one of
Wow.
the one of the one of the most well-known, highly conscious, baddest artists globally is Lupe Fiasco, and right in Chicago, from Chicago, and he doesn't get any play. So no, they'll isolate you. So they might be thinking they might isolate her, but I would say so be it. There's so many outlets now, that show things on the screen now. I mean, we even got our own. So yeah, Cree should denounce that and apologize. Steph Curry should apologize. All of them should apologize and denounce that madness. And so we made a grave mistake. The people know it. The people, man, the people know it. You mentioned like when we first came out and found out about this, looking at the trailer was already with us. The trailer was like, say a couple thousand thumbs up, say 2,000 thumbs up, 4,000 thumbs down. The trailer spoke volumes. The reaction to the trailer. They got to the
No,
point where they just make this point too. They got to the point Where like last summer, it was 8,100 people gave it a thumbs up, and it had 81,000 gave it a thumbs down. And it's funny too because I call on our radio station in Gary a lot to update the people on what's happening. And when I got finished talking about this on the station, there was a older brother called in and said he likes the show. He particularly likes the 2-year-old drug dealer that's been kicked out the house. So he's one of
Wow.
those. He's one of the 8,100 that gave it a thumbs up, but 81,000 gave it a thumbs down. And brother, so this is the crazy part. And you probably heard me share this before, but people, this just lets you know that Drake has some legitimacy in his campaign against Kendrick Lamar on this trial, and we have some also. When we talk about how they play some of these Drake songs an hour on these radio stations. So going, he shoots himself in the foot really. But we had a meeting like in February of this year, and we reported that there were now 83,000. We looked up. We wanted to get a report on that trailer on the people who said they like it and the people who said they don't like it. So we looked up and it was like 83,000 gave it a thumbs up. No, not 83. I'm sorry. 8,300 gave it a thumbs up. And it went 200 more people since the summer up until February that liked it, gave it a thumbs up. And when we looked at the thumbs down, it had decreased. It had decreased to 63,000. So
How does that happen?
how do you decrease from 81,000 to 63,000?
Yeah, how does that happen? Right.
So they weren't manipulating it, but I couldn't say nothing because I couldn't find the evidence. But then luckily, I was just looking through my photos one day on my desktop, and there it was. I had screenshotted what I saw
Nice.
last summer, and so there it
Nice.
was. Yeah.
Interesting. Now, Steph Curry is one of the best 3-point shooters in the history of the Negro Basketball Association, and many of us enjoy watching him. But he was involved with this, and he was taken to task as well. Now, I want you to share with the people that are watching this, in case they haven't seen it, what was Steph Curry's response when a journalist had asked him and questioned him about this Netflix Good Time series? What was Steph Curry's response?
You talked about how iconic it was, and this is kind of like an adult remake of it. And then the interviewer, it was actually after one of the games. They go to the podium after the games. So the interviewer asked him, would you watch it with your children? He said, no, I won't be watching this with my children.
Mm, mm. And that was his response. That was that. So if it's not good enough for his children, then it shouldn't be good enough for our children, right? You on mute, brother. We can't hear you.
Okay,
There
I
you
was
go.
saying exactly.
Yeah, so now,
Again, and it's a cartoon. A lot of people have been pointing out. My cousin Tabiti, been working with us out in LA on this campaign. He says it's a cartoon. Our children are going to watch cartoons. He teaches elementary school and grade school children, and at Garvey School, at African Center School. He said, our children they're going to watch cartoons. Get a hold of them, they're going to watch it. And it's so sad that Steph do this.
right. And so, if it was any other group of people, do you think this would even see the light of day?
No way. They would have done it. I mean, because they got N-bombs all throughout it. I mean, the father was about to kill the daughter's boyfriend. He's dropping N-bombs on him. So it's no way. It would never see the light of day. Never.
Now, were there any? I mean, we know some black actors participated in terms of doing voiceover, but were there any black writers in terms of the script?
Oh yeah, I can't think of Renata Shepherd's husband, but her, him. Oh yeah, they were all up in there writing this, but also some Europeans. It's funny because I saw Erica Huggins' name on there. I'm like, Erica Huggins? Erica Huggins is the widow of John Huggins of the Black Panther Party. She was locked up for a while in the Alex Rackley trial in New Haven, Connecticut, along with Bobby Seals. Free Bobby, free Erica, that campaign. And there's no way she's writing for this. So, we look like we do a little investigation, and they're missing what is it? I think not a G, but something was missing in the spelling. So it was a different Erica Huggins, but it was still Erica Huggins. And it was a European lady who was another producer, I guess writer also, who used to work for the media radio station companies. So
Yeah.
yeah, so
No,
no, so there's different races, and then if you look at even the other executive producer is Seth MacFarlane, and I man, Seth MacFarlane, dude, that I shared the story before. I'll share it again, but I was watching NFL football on Sundays. Like again, I'm going back to your best friend's father. Sundays, the day I watched NFL action on TV. So I was watching it on on Fox. I forgot who was playing, but second game I fell asleep during the game, only to be awakened. I woke up on the couch, TV was still on, and Family Guy was. I was
mm,
awakened to someone saying he had a sculpture of Harriet Tubman having lesbian sex with Gwyneth Paltrow. I'm like, I mean, I'm shaking myself out my slumber, thinking I'm having a nightmare. So I know I didn't hear what I think I heard. Focus my eyes, looked up, and sure enough, it was a picture of Harriet Tubman in that dress that the picture wearing as she was older, with a naked white woman draped across her. And I was like, what the hell is this?
mm,
And started investigating. And one of my comrades, oh, yeah, Steph MacFarlane. Good. That's kind of stuff he does. And no, he doesn't. Not this time.
right. Right.
But,
So
we didn't. Yeah. So, and he's the executive producer of this.
yeah, and so as it relates, and shout out to Thuzla Doom in the chat. He said, "I lost all respect for Steph Curry. Does Curry lose points? Does he lose points behind this in the eyes of the fans of the NBA?"
Oh, yes. Yeah, he certainly does. To make it even worse, he hasn't said anything else. We haven't heard anything else from Steph Curry. We hear him lamenting about other things happening in other communities to other people and to other situations of when violence occurs. Him and the coach, Steve Kerr, there's certain instances of things happen. You'll hear Stephen Curry's voice. You hear him, you see his daughter, his family. You see his daughter even, lamenting the death of Malcolm Jamal Warner. And you see all that. But dude, you are out here producing cartoons where people are shooting at children, at
Mm,
babies. So, yeah, he was, like you said, one of our greatest 3-point shooters, one of our greatest shooter scorers ever. But he missed this one. He airballed this one. And he hasn't
mm,
apologized. And the NBA
right.
has not made him apologize. Yet they made Kyrie Irving apologize for simply tweeting that some people may want to check out a video that offended some people.
Right.
You can just look at the trailer and see how many people this has offended.
Yeah, there was a demonstration at the Madison Square Garden in New York City that I attended. Was put on by CMOTAP, and a lot of people came out. CMOTAP, People's Organization for Progress, UNIA, Operation Power, with the Honorable Charles Barron. A lot of people came out. I know the NBA knew we were out there. The news media, they didn't really put the cameras on us, but the silence that's coming from the NBA is astounding to me, especially since like you said, Kyrie Irving was made to apologize. He had to pay money. I mean, he's paying fines. He's getting suspended from games. I think this is a degree worse than what Kyrie Irving did, just suggesting that people might want to watch a video. What is your response to the NBA's reaction or lack thereof? Like, why is there no response at all from the NBA?
I think it's appalling. I think a lot of people think we'll just be silent and things will go away, but it's not going away. As you can tell, Single Tap has made it one of their major campaigns for 2024, and they're not. I mean, just like in Madison Square Garden, just like up at the Barclays, same thing at the United Center in Chicago. We demonstrated there when Golden State Warriors came to play the Bulls. In April, we were in Los Angeles, and what was the Crypto Arena uh, demonstrating? Yeah, Crypto Arena demonstrating there. And so that people know, they see it. I saw when you all were in New York, Spike Lee walked by. He saw it. Say something, Spike. You know,
Right.
say something. That's wrong. And the NBA should be ashamed of themselves. But the NBA is ratchet anyway, man. The NBA just for their All Star game last year, they had Jello Ball performing a song. What was the name of the song? All I know is he talked about all these trusts his money, Glock, and some, and his Glock. Yet they want to suspend not just Kyrie Irving, they want to suspend Ja Morant for flashing guns. They suspended him, but yet you got at your All-Star showcase, one of the Ball brothers out there, his brother comes on stage with him, and he's singing a song about uh, his Glock, dropping N-bomb, disrespecting our people. You go to an NBA basketball game. I went to NBA, I was watching the opening night of the NBA several years ago, and they're playing songs from 21 Savage, uh, bragging about, you know, running trains on sisters and shooting up people. They're playing songs. They play bank account. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shooters ready to gun you down. That's on opening night, NBA. They're playing
That's
poor homie. They're playing poor homie Quan. Not playing it. He's on stage performing it. They got. I'm sorry. I guess I got to give him some respect because he's transitioned now. Rich homie Quan was out opening night doing flex. Give that H some X. She's gonna want to sex every N in the set. She ain't gonna know what she want to do if you got on ecstasy. So basically, you drug raping her, and that's the chorus of the song that they playing at an NBA game.
Wow, that's terrible. That's terrible. How did they allow that?
Exactly.
How do they allow it? Now, Spike Lee has always been very outspoken. He hasn't said anything, and he attends the Garden regular. We were there when Steph Curry was there playing, and Spike Lee hasn't said anything. Why do you think he's being so silent on this? Because Spike Lee's been very outspoken on any number of issues over the years. Why the silence from him on this issue?
And maybe the same thing, but I don't know. Like you said, he's been outspoken already. Just like even Creed's been outspoken. Even I don't know, bro. I'm complex. Maybe he still will. I mean, we need to challenge him and check. He saw us out there. What's what's your comment on this? Say something.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Say
Now,
something.
Dwayne Boatwright in the chat says, I don't think that other people should be able to make any films about the Black experience without it being proofread, checked, or watched by a Black person at all. Do you agree with that? Should other people be producing entertainment for us, or is that just our job exclusively?
Well, he said without Black people watching it, but Black people not only approved it, they right there helping be a part of it. So I'm sure our brother means conscious Black people or people with some consciousness to them who could tell them no, this is unacceptable. And that's why we got to have that's why we got to have control of our culture. We got to get control of our culture. Others have control of it, and this is what we're getting. They want to. I was checking out a speech by Ibrahim Traore. I think it was by him. Sometimes it's hard to tell, but I loved it. He said they want you to see yourself through their lens.
Through
Through
the lens of people that despise us.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yep. And that's obvious. You see it in the good times. You see it in how you can't have like we do a survey. Y'all can check this out too. Check out the Sad State or the State of Black Music survey. Just look it up, Google it, and you'll see some of these surveys we do with some youngsters. We asked them, give us a percentage of music that you and your peers listen to that drop in bombs on us. They'll tell you, 90%. We also asked about the percentage that call out women for B's and H's. They'll tell you again, 80, 90%. And we asked, this is crazy. The third question, we only asked 3 questions. Third question is the percentage of music that brags about and encourages Black people to shoot, kill each other. And many of them say 100% on that, but they set us up, dehumanize us, calling our women female dogs and dropping N-bombs on the men. So we're not human anymore. So yeah, you can take us out. Ain't no big deal.
Yeah, if I could add a layer on to what you're saying, and those Ladum in the chat is chiming in as well, saying some of the same things. There's 2 kinds of Black people. There's descriptive Black people, and there's conscious Black people. There's people you can describe them as Black, but they're not necessarily cultured. And then, of course, there's the conscious Black people that are cultured. So even if this is greenlit by Black people, if they're not conscious Black, it's still going to be some amount of buffoonery in it. And you talk a lot about the music. A lot of independently Black-owned record labels put out a lot of this negative, I'm going to kill me a ninja rap. And so, you want Black people to proofread and green light projects, but if they're not if they, I call them PMO. We know what GMO is, right? Genetically modified organism. PMO is psychologically modified organism.
Mm.
If you got PMO black people green lighting, television shows and films, it's gonna be the same buffoonery. It's gonna be the same nonsense. So that's not really gonna change. So here's the question,
And,
brother Kwabena. Now,
and,
go
and,
ahead.
and, and we just want to follow up on that too, because I think about 50 Cent. I forgot who was supposed to be doing a movie on. We don't want him doing a movie on that person. Someone was
Mm,
supposed to be doing a movie on Queen and Zinga, and Garvey, who was it? I think it was the dude that did Empire. That did he
wow.
made one of the most horrible movies you ever want to see in your life, Monsters Ball. We don't want him doing
Mm.
no movie on Garvey or Queen and Zinga.
Excellent point. That's an excellent point. So now, brother Kwabena, they yourself, Clear the Airways Project, CMO Tap, any number of other groups across the country were calling on black people to cancel their Netflix. And a lot of people actually did that, started to cancel Netflix nationwide. Then there was an open letter written by Dr. James McIntosh that he encouraged everyone to copy, paste, and maybe print on paper and send it in the snail mail, get this over to Netflix. And we did that. Then there was a campaign to call Netflix on a particular day and express your discontent with Good Times. And I know I did that. Any number of other people did that. Now, brother Kwabena, when I call that number, I got what sounded like an Asian lady in the Philippines speaking with an Asian accent. I gave her my complaint. Not sure if it got any further than that. Any number of other people did the same thing. Now, and I need you to bring some clarity to this. I'm understanding now that Netflix is either emailing or calling people, asking them why they canceled their Netflix. Did you hear this?
I've heard that, yes. And we've
Okay.
been telling people, and part of the thing was let them know why. Don't just cancel it, let them know why. So that's good. That is a good thing.
Right.
So we appreciate that. But you're right, man. So there's another issue that's happening with this whole YN thing. And so the mayor of Durham, North Carolina, in talking about issues going on in their city, called our Watoto, called them YNs. And our comrade minister, Truth Minister Paul Scott, checked him on it. And and I was telling my brother about it. He's like, man, they be saying that on First Take on one of them ESPN shows.
Wow.
So we
Serious?
called ESPN. Yeah, we called ESPN and filed a complaint against that.
Okay.
And so yeah, so you got to do that. I think it's very important. And I know when we
Absolutely.
were doing our campaign against McDonald's, we were getting some calls back. We were getting letters back. They were sending letters back. So acknowledging that they did receive. As a matter of fact, I was working at Purdue at the time, and the CEO of McDonald's was on the Purdue board after he left McDonald's. And I saw him at a meeting, and I asked him, "Did you get the letters that we sent concerning this music issue?" He said he did get it. I mean, I didn't get a chance to. We were at a meeting. I should have talked to him some more, but he said he did get the letter. He saw the letter. I said, "Well, why y'all didn't? Why y'all didn't just immediately just cut it off?" But he said so they get a lot of times they get those letters. They get and Single Tap and others. Right now, we're in a campaign. We're sending letters right now to Netflix. They're getting them. They should be getting them today, and going to be getting them
Okay.
for a while. Yes.
I need a copy of that so I can repost it again.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. A lot of people, myself included, called Netflix and told them why we canceled our Netflix. Again, I don't know if that got any further than the person that took down the information. But now Netflix is calling people, asking them why they canceled Netflix. Do you think they really don't know why people cancel Netflix, or are they feigning ignorance?
They're probably claiming ignorance, But it's such a vast though. It's such a vast conglomerate, media conglomerate right now. So there may be legitimacy to those answering those questions. But if they do, and you have canceled it because of that, definitely let them know. Let them and share it. Share everybody. So many people on social media. Share it. Share what's going on with this. Because again,
Yeah.
they know they're wrong.
Now I'm gonna pivot back to the music because I'm seeing a comment in the chat. Thuzla Doom said, "I noticed that gangster rap focuses on the black person being the object of hate and killing. It's always kill that N-word." Then he said that started with NWA. Now, I dial it back a step and say that actually began with Criminal Minded and BDP. It escalated with NWA. But what are your thoughts on that idea that Duzla Doom said that black people in rap music are the object? As opposed to a person, you're seen as an object of hate.
Man, I think about, I remember hearing your report on the history of hip hop. Excellent, too. If you guys go back and check that out, excellent piece that you and Brother Aishi did. I think you may have did one on your own, but you talked about that, man. And KRS-One had been my favorite rapper for so long. And I remember getting that Criminal Minded LP, going through it. I see him on the cover with the 9mm song, 9mm. And my favorite song on the album was Poetry. And I'm like, man, Poetry, he just flowed on that. And then, but I'd rather point a pistol at your head and try to burst it. Why? Even then I was like cringe. And I've been in radio a while, and I would play it periodically. Of course, bump that out of there. But I don't know, bro. I know exactly what you're saying. So that's still that. Yeah.
That's an excellent point.
Even my other one of my other all time.
Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, this was before that. I was gonna bring up another song by another one of my favorite artists. And it's not as bad, but still, The Ghetto from Rakim is my favorite Rakim song. I just love the flow of it. And when he goes into I got my back, my guns on my side. He finishes off the rhymes by having his gun on the side. People should be some other things too. This guy, when he made him, the artists have been introduced in the rap a while back. KRS, he came forward for Stop the Violence and kicked off the Stop the Violence group. But when they talk about drill music, and 2009 or 10, whenever Chief Keef came out with that, and Jimmy Iovine and all them promoted and pushed him, and even getting further in New York City, where that no good L.A. Reid had Bobby S.H. murder in L.A. on the table in front of epic execs and mostly Europeans jumping around talking about how he was going to make a shooter in, hot in, this drill rap. Man, this stuff was going on way before then. Gangster rap ain't nothing but drill rap mostly anyway. So,
yeah, I want to come back to Netflix, but I do want to add on to what you're saying about the music in KRS-One. I think KRS-One is somewhat of a chameleon that does things for his own personal expediency. So, for example, in the first album, he came out criminal minded, and he was talking about engaging in acts of violence against his own people. That's the first time we heard that on record. Next album, he comes out By Any Means Necessary, and he's a conscious rapper. How do you just flip the switch like that? And he said so many things and contradicted himself in so many different ways that perhaps maybe I need to do a whole lesson on KRS-One and some of his contradictions. But yeah, Rakim the Ghetto, he said, I got my back, my gun's on my side. Who's the gun for? It's not for the police. It's not for any revolutionary activity. And Rakim's obviously somebody we respect. But he's still speaking to that kind of street narrative where you have guns not to defend yourself against the system of structural racism, which is based on the myth of white supremacy. You have guns to harm, brutalize, and in many cases, kill your own people. Now, Brother Kwabena, we're going to go ahead and close it out. But the call is still to cancel the Netflix, right? What's the latest action that people have to engage in the Netflix campaign? And I think Brother Kwabena is frozen. But the call is to still continue to cancel your Netflix if you have not already. So cancel your Netflix. There is an open letter on offthecorner.net that a person can copy paste and either put that in an email or put that in the regular snail mail and send that over to Netflix. The address is on the letter as well. I would say if you can get the phone number, I don't have it now, but you can always search it on the internet. Call Netflix and tell them why you're canceling your Netflix. And in addition to that, Brother Kwabena, I was just basically letting people know that the boycott continues. So to continue to cancel their Netflix if they haven't already. Told them to send the open letter, the first open letter. I know you said there's a new one. And I was telling people to call Netflix. Now, you said there's a new open letter. What's the next action in the campaign?
Getting that letter to Netflix, and we haven't decided what action we're going to do next, but it is something next. we talked about it, but we're not putting it out there yet. Myself and Dr. McIntosh and some others talked about it, but we haven't put it out there yet. So stay tuned. The struggle still continues, but we're gonna win. We're gonna win. Hey man, we want to send some love, man, to our comrade in this Clear Airways project who just transitioned, our brother Malcolm Jamal Warner, who on his first podcast talked about banning N-bombs and the B word out of this rap music.
Okay, so salute to him, definitely. Now, brother Kwabena, you're on the radio every Friday. How can people hear you?
It's the weekly wrap up. Go to the book and look up weekly wrap up page, and we're on there. We're on every Friday. But 26 years.
Okay, and Clear the Airways Project. If a person wants to get more information on that, how can they do that?
ClearTheAirwaysProject.org is our website. Also, you can check us out also on the book at ClearTheAirwaysProject.org, and it's Airwaves, WAVES. And you can also email me at clearairwaves@gmail.com.
Okay, so we would encourage people to follow up with you and join in on the campaign. Boycotting is not a waste of time. In fact, a lot of the progress we made in America was because of what the great Dr. Martin Luther King called economic withdrawal. We want to continue to keep our foot on the gas. We want to let Netflix know that they need to remove the first season. It's good that we had a victory in a battle, but they have to remove the first season as opposed to just canceling the second season. But brother Kwabena, that's it, brother. I'm gonna let you go because I see you on the go. You're on the road, traveling over the road. So we're gonna let you go ahead and do your thing. We want to thank you for joining us, and we're gonna bring you back again soon, brother, so we can continue the conversation.
Appreciate you, brother. One love.
Yeah, no doubt. Peace.
Peace.